let's get you straight to highlights of this final Triple Crown event of the year. Yeah, 3 races each for 250 and 450, and it was going to be a big night for championship leader Jett Lawrence. But how exactly did it play out? Let's get you to the first race, because it got going with a bang, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, Mitchell Oldenburg coming up short right there, claiming a lot of victims because of that, because it gets so narrow right here in this 90-degree corner. I mean, he comes up way short, takes down Adam Cianciarulo, a whole bunch of other guys, Jett Lawrence, there's Vince Freezy,
Chase Sexton.
Reigning champ, yep, Chase Sexton, and really just throwing a wrench in things. That would end Adam Cianciarulo's night.
Under Lawrence was leading. He drops it while Eli Tomac was in pursuit.
While we watch, yep, then next thing you know, he's down. Then Jett Lawrence, he's trying to make his way through up and minimize the damage, come through the pack. He did make a great comeback, but this was really scary right here, Leigh. He is being, Ken Rocks is being ensued by Jett Lawrence, and something happens with his bike. He makes a major mistake. I'm not sure if that happened because of the bike and it malfunctioning, but nevertheless, he would fall down a lap behind.
Jett Lawrence continued his climb through the field. It was quite the comeback. Remember, he was involved in that lap 1 incident, and he just kept carving his way through position at a time. Meanwhile, up front, Eli Tomac was enjoying some time in the lead.
Well, this was a great ride by Eli, and he looked great earlier today in time qualifying practice, and you just wonder when that elusive win, the 2024 season, was coming.
So win number 1 on the night for Eli Tomac. Let's take you to the second race, and it was Justin Cooper who got a blinder of a start. He's being pursued by Jett Lawrence early on.
Well, I thought Lawrence had it, but when he was taking Eli a little bit wide there, it allowed Justin Cooper to sneak up the inside, and he led for a couple laps, but comes up short there through that rhythm section, and then let's let the 18 get by. But I think the moral of the story on this race, even though Jett Lawrence wins, is I think this was a learning lesson that is going to propel this 2024 season for Eli Tomac. And why do I say that? Because he said it, and I was thinking it as well, as he learned a lot. Cooper Webb goes down. Got to be mindful of those insides. We talk about them all the time. Those tough blocks are like Velcro.
Yeah, his foot peg caught on that.
That's right.
So, Jett Lawrence out in front clearly. Tomac couldn't catch him. He crosses the line first, but there's a big but. At that moment there, Jett Lawrence realized he jumped on the red cross flag, and he is furious about it. Well, we'll tell you more about this in just a moment, because he wasn't the only one, and penalties would be coming. Yes, there it is again on replay, and that's the moment that Lawrence realized what had transpired. We'll tell you more about that again coming up shortly. Let's take you to the highlights of the third and final race, and we probably should say that Eli Tomac actually was granted the win in race 2, so this is the moment he realizes he's going for the sweep.
Well, confidence breeds confidence, Diff. You know all about that, but this is where the night turned for the worse for Jett Lawrence, and an absolutely violent impact. And it's going to be interesting to see if this young man is going to be okay, and there's no lingering injury from that. And I haven't seen a violent hit like that in a long time. But two-time champ Cooper Webb, he gets by Chase Sexton. Sexton slips up, isn't able to jump the triple, and this was a clutch ride for Cooper Webb. He'll end up 2nd overall on the night, and he closes the points gap to only 8 points behind this man right here with the weekend off. And seeing Jett riding, that's kind of I like that. That's comforting to see, but he won't make any points.
And Jason Thomas will break down more about that Justin Barcia Jett Lawrence incident, but this was the glorious moment. The crowd went crazy. Tomac's first overall win of 2024, and he sweeps again. He really is the king of the Triple Crown. Awesome performance. His 100th Supercross podium. It guarantees him a spot for the SMX World Finals. And there's Justin Barcia saying, man, it was just circumstantial, I'm sorry. And there's no heated emotions there. Jett says, okay, I get it, I cut back. And Justin's saying, I couldn't do anything about it. So that was the overall podium. Tomac, Webb, and Hunter Lawrence getting his first ever 450 Supercross podium. Cooper Webb wins the Triple Crown championship within a championship. So there you have it. Eli Tomac 1-1-1. Doesn't get any better than that. Webb and Lawrence. I don't think you would have predicted that podium at the beginning of the night.
No. It was a good ride for sure, and a lot of fun to watch.
So that's how it finished as far as the Triple Crown. What about overall championship-wise? Jett Lawrence came into this race here in St. Louis this race weekend with a 16-point advantage, and he leaves with it being halved. Yeah. Ricky, Cooper Webb slices it down to 8.
Well, this is something else right here, Diff, and I mean this. Now we're coming to a break, and we're going to have the final stretch to the championship for Monster Energy Supercross in Salt Lake City. And for a guy like Cooper Webb to be this close and behind Jett Lawrence, and this is assuming Jett's going to be 100%, it's still going to be hard, and it's going to put Jett Lawrence in a spot where he can't slip up. Right. There's no more gimmies, no more mulligans, I should say, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and we got the elements too.
All right, well, let's join Will Christien and hear from the man of the night, Eli Tomac.
Thank you, Leigh. Here right now with a very happy Eli Tomac as we got off the podium. Eli, the crowd are appreciating what you were doing. I think everybody felt that for you. We know it's been a long time coming this season, but it clearly meant a lot to you at the end. The pieces needed to come together, and a few members of your team have told me about what were those pieces, and are you going to be able to keep them in place now moving forward?
I hope so. I mean, that's the goal, right, is to keep this going and this be the new normal. I just was not executing everything that needed to be a win, straight up. So it's like some nights my starts were good, my riding was off, and vice versa. So tonight I had all of that in place. So yeah, it's just a big weight off my shoulders. I was just getting frustrated. So this was really cool, and it was a great crowd tonight, and feeling doesn't get any better.
We're all happy for you. Now, the break that you took from racing, obviously due to the Achilles heel injury there, how much does that play a part? Is this about just kind of having to get your head back in the game? You guys perform at such an incredibly high level. Getting yourself in that place that you're so familiar with, is that half the problem?
I mean, maybe. But another thing is the level, like, always gets raised. And so, yeah, coming back from an injury, you know, the bar is always being raised. A lot of times you feel great preseason and you think you're at that level, but once you go racing, you know, maybe you're a little bit off. So either way, we've been able to get to this point and now get a win. So happy for the team.
An impressive win it was too. Thanks so much, Eli. Happy for you, and we'll see you in Foxborough. Thank you.
Thanks.
The clean sweep for Eli Tomac. By the way, let's get back to that penalty situation with the Red Cross flag. This is how we covered it on the broadcast, and we also heard from the AMA's Mike Pelletier. We have a story for you that involves that man there, championship leader, Jett Lawrence. He was about to win race 2, and right there sees the Red Cross flag. Vince Friese is down in between those two jumps, and he says, oh no, I can't believe it. I jumped on the Red Cross flag.
He's mad.
So we're going to bring in the director of AMA Pro Racing, Mike Pelletier. Mike, he is not the only one, we believe, that is going to be penalized. Tell us more and tell us why.
Yeah, he's not, guys. We had a serious situation from the white flag lap all the way to the checkered. 5 riders upon review jumped that Red Cross flag between the white flag and the checkered, and Jett, as you saw, on the checkered flag. So in a Triple Crown race, it's a 2-position penalty per offense. So they've all received 2 positions. Jason Anderson has received a 4-position penalty because he did it on the white flag lap and the checkered.
So again, just reviewing that, it's Chase Sexton loses 2 positions, Cooper Webb loses 2 positions, Jett Lawrence loses 2 positions. There, Aaron Plessinger loses 2 positions, Jason Anderson 4 positions. Correct. Is that correct, Mike?
That is correct.
There you go.
Thank you.
We had it right there. Thank you, Mike.
So as you know, with Triple Crown competition, there's always a lot going on. It is a really busy night. And in the wake of tonight, people are going to be talking about that. They're going to be talking about the Jett Lawrence, Justin Barcia thing. They're going to be talking about everything. Adam Cianciarulo, there's just so much that went on. However, there are all other stories. The main story was Eli Tomac is back.
Yeah, that was a big moment for Eli Tomac tonight. I really, truly believe that. And I go back to not only how well he rode in the first race, but that second race. And if you listen closely to his podium finish, or his podium interview, he talks about what he learned. And we talked about it when I was giving my analysis during the race. I'm like, guys like Eli Tomac, they have the ability to make the mid-race adjustments and see where these guys are gaining on them. So like, okay, I need to be a little bit faster in my corners, or I need to drive through the faces of the jumps a little bit faster, wherever it might be. Or I need my bike to do this a little bit better in a certain area to be able to handle that pace. And I think it was a really good learning moment for Eli. He was probably pretty comfortable on the bike, I'm guessing, to be able to hold that pace and hold it close enough to see where Jett was much better. And I think we're going to see a lot more of Eli Tomac contending for wins now.
And to that point, he said that was like Eli of old.
Yeah,
so look out. And of course, the other story was that massive collision between Justin Barcia and Jett Lawrence. Our JT has more on that.
So I'm standing in arguably the most pivotal corner of the 450 Triple Crown tonight, and this is the corner where the incident between Jett Lawrence and Justin Barcia all happened. I'm going to try to explain the dynamics and the geometry and what these riders may have been thinking. Now I'm standing right where Jett Lawrence would have entered the corner. This is on the very, very outside. And when he does that, he leaves this entire space on the inside. And in a Triple Crown on the first lap, riders are all piled together. That is a very precarious position to be in. Now, as Jett was working through the corner, he decided that he was going to draw a very tight angle and cut down. The problem is all of those riders that I previously mentioned coming up the inside are unaware of that, and they're going to be driving hard to make a later apex. So when Jett turns here, he's almost facing directly into oncoming traffic, and that's where Justin Barcia was headed. Now, Justin Barcia, had he not been impeded by Jett Lawrence's bike, would have been making his apex in this portion of the berm here, right? So it's miscommunication. You could argue that Justin Barcia should have been going a little bit slower, been more aware of Jett Lawrence's intentions. You could also argue just as easily that Jett Lawrence should know that you can't cut down that aggressively on the first lap. There's too much traffic, and you're opening yourself up to too many collisions, and that's what happened. So I think it's another in a myriad of Jett Lawrence learning lessons. That was a painful one, but it's one of those lessons on the first lap. You have to be very, very cautious and very aware of your surroundings.
Awesome report,
yeah.
JT. And Ricky, we won't belabor the point, but you've learned some information as well since this happened.
Yeah, I have, and we saw after the race, Jett Lawrence and Justin Barcia having a conversation. Justin Barcia obviously explaining his side, and he was, and I told you this after the races, he was trying to block Vince Friese. He wasn't expecting to do that. He said that that's what he was trying to do, and he didn't mean to do that, and he feels sick to his stomach of what happened. And what JT said, he's exactly right. And looking, like when we look over our TV monitors and we look at that corner from here, you can really see the perspective. That's what I mean, you could say he's shaking his head. I mean, Jett looks like he's not overly upset. I mean, and I don't... There's a million ways to look at it. One thing I might say might be wrong to some person, and it might be right to another person. But what I do know, I don't think it was intentional. At the end of the day, you have to be mindful of turning down too early. And going back to what I was saying about looking over these monitors and looking at that corner, it's very wide entering. I mean, you can swing way out wide, so when that happens, you can turn down early, and you're almost going backwards on the track. That angle that JT was talking about. Well, if Justin isn't looking ahead and he's worried about the guy in front of him trying to guard on Vince Friese, he's worried about that. Maybe he should have been looking further ahead. Of course, I mean, we could sit here and debate it all day long. So it's a racing incident. I think they both can learn from it. I think a lot of people are going to learn from it, and they might even change. Maybe it's something to look at where they change that inside marker to move it more to the right so these guys can't have such a wide entry to the corner. So it's a bummer for both guys. It's going to be a hot topic, and a lot of us are going to be breaking it down more and more.
Hi, folks. Leigh Diffey from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.